Hey, I'm RC and this is the second episode about how it's made in Raining Chain. So many of you guys wanted me to cover cheating prevention, so that's what I will be covering today. So don't forget to post in the comment section what topic you want me to cover in the next video. Now keep in mind that the goal of this series is not to show you in detail how to prevent cheating in your video game, but just to show you what I personally did for Raining Chain so you have a rough overview of how to deal with cheating. Preventing cheating is a very important topic in multiplayer games, especially in MMOs, because one player can affect many other players. So for example, if a player is able of duplicating items, then it could potentially ruin the entire economy and affect the entire player base. So it's very important to have a solid cheating prevention system. So many people claim that it's impossible to prevent cheating in a browser game because all the player has to do is to open up the console and then he can type whatever he wants and modify the game state. So for example, I want to have 2 billion HP. I just type, hey, I want to have 2 billion HP, and there we go. Or I could simply open up this, grab that, go over here and modify the values on the fly. So yes, you can do that in JavaScript, but in any language, even if it's compiled, you can still do it with cheat engine and memory hack softwares. So it's not because it's JavaScript that you can cheat on the interface. You can do that in other language. But yes, I do agree it's a lot easier to do in browser games and with JavaScript. But one important thing to understand when dealing with cheating prevention is that the goal is to prevent a player from affecting the user experience of other players. That's the main key. So a player should not gain an advantage over other players, and the player should not be able to ruin the experience of others. And that's the goal. Because for example, even if I'm able of altering what is visually displayed, it won't affect the other players nearby. It's the equivalent of taking a marker and writing down on your screen. Yes, you can put whatever you want, but the server, I won't be able to sell those on here because the server will tell me, hey, you only have 20, I'm not gonna give you that much gold. And you will not be able, even if I add myself a lot of topaz, I will not be able to trade them with another players because the server knows that I only have 20. So the goal is that the state of the server stays valid and it must not be altered by the player. So there are two main categories of cheating. The first one is altering the server state, like I said, so saying that you have way more items than you really have, say that you have 1 billion HP, that you're invulnerable, that you can move at the speed of light. So that's one type of cheating. This is the most dangerous one, for sure, because it will greatly affect the other players. The other type of cheating is having an unfair advantage. And what I mean by that, it won't affect the server. It's more things like there's an invisible monster next to me. But with scripts, I modify the game logic so the monster that is supposed to be invisible is fully visible. So that would be an example of an unfair advantage. Or maybe there's a minimap and most of it is hidden because it only shows the map I've been to, like a fog of war, but I have a script that shows the entire map, kind of like in Diablo 2 with the map axe. So in order to fix the unfair advantage, it's rather easy. You need to really send the minimal amount of data you need to send. So if the player have only seen one part of the map, you should only send data about that part of the map. If there's an invisible monster next to the player, don't send data about that monster at all. And that way will not be able to cheat. So yeah, I said there's only two ways of cheating, but there's also botting. I don't really want to get into that because it's a quite complex topic. If you want me to cover it, you can simply tell me in the comment section, and maybe later in the how it's made in Raining Chain, I will cover this topic. But in short, it's very easy to create bots in Raining Chain because you have access to all the variables very easily. But it's also very easy to counter bots because you can run anything, anytime. Anyway, like I said, I won't want to cover it too much, but there are easy ways to counter bots in JavaScript. So anyway, let's go back to preventing the alteration of the server state. So what you need to do is to assume that all packages have been altered. So that's the keyword. You never trust the client. Whatever package the client sends you, you must assume that he manually crafted the packages in order to exploit and cheat the game. So it can be super trivial. You need to test absolutely everything. And what I'm going to do is to show you what I've done, a few examples in Raining Chain. But first I want to show you the list of player actions. So every package the client sends to the server must be one of those. So that's the valid action. If it's not one of them, then the server will simply not allow it. So everything is there. Ability swapping, inviting someone to your party, I don't know, using an item, choosing a dialogue option, changing the music, using a pet, reviving, promoting, trading, all of that, there's an action for it. And for each of them, I must verify if the player can use the function, because those things can be called at any given time. So at any time, the player could say, hey, I want to level up my ability. And it's in the ability function that I need to test, hey, does the player have enough cash or whatever in order to call that? Because like I said, at any given time, the player can open the console, type, hey, I want to execute the command level up, write something and send it. I cannot prevent the client from sending me packages, but I can verify if the packages make sense. So let's take the ability level up example. So it's declared over here. So I got a command. So this is my system. It's not perfect, but it works. So I create a command. It takes one parameter, which is the ability you want to level up. And when I receive a package, the function ability level up on command is called. And for each command you have seen in the big list, I got something like this. For example, in order to swap abilities, you need to tell me the ability you want and the position. And this must be a string, the other one must be a number with a maximum value of ability slot. So I do verification. It's very important to do verification with typing, because otherwise the server could simply crash. Like the player is, you try to do a concatenation or call a function and the player sent you a number, then it's gonna crash. So that's why I always test the typing. You also need to test the length, so a player cannot send you like a super long string and make the server super slow, other things like that. But I won't go into that too much in this video. So every function, every uncomment function has a underscore uncomment to distinguish it from the normal version. So there's swap ability. Swap ability is really swapping the abilities. I don't do testing on it. I assume that the testing is done. So normally if the server wants to swap the ability, I don't need to do testing. The server can do it. But if a player wants to swap abilities, it needs to go over here, and this will have the additional testing. Same goes for ability level up. So ability level up always. Ability level up on command will do additional testing. So this is how it goes. So I got the player, I got the ID. I check if the player has the ability, because like I said, he can put anything he wants. I can put whatever I want as this parameter. This would be the ID, and it must not crash the server. That's kind of important. So if it's not valid, I return. If you try to level up something too high, it returns, so do nothing. Then I check, do you have enough cash to do that? Okay, not, return, and otherwise I actually level up the ability. So yeah, one important thing to notice over here with the list of command is that damage calculation is not there. Damage calculation is all done on the server. What is there though is using an ability. So the client says, hey, I want to use an ability. I don't know where it is, but there's something called use ability. Then the server verify if the player can use ability. If so, spawn all the bullets and do all the calculation on the server, and then the result of those calculation is sent to the client. But the client cannot alter those calculations, so that's very important. Same goes for movement. Movement is a little bit trickier, but I don't want to get too much into that. I want to keep the video short, so if you want me to cover more in detail botting, or if you want me to cover movement or any other topic, simply tell me in the comment section. And also on my website, I got a bunch of different topics. If you want some inspiration, I will put the link in the description. So thanks a lot for watching, and see ya.